Now, if you want to talk about the powers behind the Council on Foreign Relations
I don't want to
and the Trilateral Commission, of course
Actually,
you don't want to discuss them.
Let me get to
talk
some
about the
questions out here in the audience.
Talk about the Kahila, which actually controls the world.
Zip it, as Morton would say, yes.
How come you guys can't get together and to stop all this fighting and everything?
He doesn't want to stop
We're
it.
not out to fight them.
What's the problem?
We don't want to fight them.
What's the point?
That's what
But what's
Mesker
the
boy said, and look what happened.
I'm not affiliated with Mesker, first of all.
What do you want?
Spoken with him, I get his literature. We don't belong to Mesker's group. We are totally
independent. You pay for his literature, you send him money, then you support
Certainly.
him. That's as far as I'm concerned. You support him.
How do you look upon these skinheads?
We don't think they're skinheads. We call them boneheads. But if they want to call themselves skinheads,
you're the bonehead.
fine.
You're the plastic
skin, buddy.
I have literature from the 60s, much literature, which shows where skinhead came from, where it came from, and
well, certainly he has different ideas about history. So certainly the history of the skinheads is when we're talking about American history, he's got quite a different point of view as to what American history is. But let me ask you a question that most of us would have to deal with. How can we tell you from you when we see you? But he's got a Nazi sign on his arm, too.
I do not have a Nazi sign.
You have a swastika.
That's the original Oriental emblem, as
is
far
it
as I'm
different from
concerned.
the Nazi swastika?
Look at the shape of it.
As you may know, that this gentleman belongs to the JDL, which is the FBI has called one of the major terrorist organizations in America.
What does the FBI say about you?
The FBI also says we're terrorists. However, this gentleman has been called by FBI a terrorist because he belongs to the JDL.
Okay, let me get some questions from the audience.
All I want to say is that I know how these guys are, right? Because when I was 18...
Which guys are you talking about?
About Otto, because I know Otto.
You're talking about what, the skinhead in the middle?
Not the guy at the end, because to me, I could just shit him out, all right?
Okay.
The guy in the middle, I know him, because when I was about 18 years old, I was in Willowbrook Mall. I got jumped by your kind of skinheads, right? I was by myself. I'm pretty big, yeah. I took 6 of yous out.
You were jumped? Did you do anything?
Yeah.
Did you do anything to provoke it, or did they just...
Nah, I was walking home, well, going to my car, you know, and
what
they
did
jumped
they say
me.
to you?
They said, yo, black boy, what you doing here? I said, none of your business. You know, I said, what y'all want to do?
He says they don't attack people.
Well, for every black man who's attacked by a white in this country, you'll find 10 blacks who are attacked by whites.
Go home and read your comic books again. So you know what they did? They jumped me, right? So I ain't gonna stand there and take no, mess. So I took 6 of them out, but it was more than 6. So I went back to funny games. I got nappy. He knows what I'm talking about. His friends, who are also skinheads, they came back and they fought against them.
So what do you do when... Wait a second. As a black man who knows that these kind of skinheads are out there, what do you do when you see a skinhead coming?
I walk, and I just don't say nothing to them, They say hi, I say hi.
But you can't tell who's a good one and who's a bad one.
Oh, you can tell.
How can you tell?
Because if you're a black man and you're walking by a skinhead, and he says, yo, this nigga, and he hits you, then you know he's a bad one.
Yeah. You know it. You know it. Well, I suppose then... I suppose then,
the litmus
if this
test for
sees my
skinheads.
people walking
We'll be
down
back
the
in
street,
just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. You have a question, sir. I guess this is for the skinhead from the racist organization.
Yeah, in his simple way of thinking, he believes that this country should be pure and white. Now, what are we supposed to do with all the black and Hispanics and, every other race around? Where are we supposed to put these people?
And we're not concerned with making it purely white anymore right now. So what we're concerned is preserving our own heritage, our own land, and putting an end to forced integration, because that's what integration has for the past 20, 30 years, been forced by government agencies. Now, so what we are not
wait a second. They can't hear you. What's that? What?
SWAT sticker.
What?
Come on, you the superior race?
I know, stand.
Right now, me and you.
Sir, no, sit down. Sir, would you please sit down?
You hear me? A dead man.
All right. Well, I'll tell you one
By
thing.
the way, Abraham Lincoln was a white supremacist. If you read what he said, a white
Hold
supremacist.
on for a second, sir. Please sit down.
6 million Jews, that bastard should be shot right there.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to sit down, and I'm going to ask a security guard to leave you if you have another outburst, okay? Because this is not between you and him. This is between you and me. Now, okay? Look at me. All right? You got what I said? Okay.
Why do people think that if you say white power, you are out to oppress other races? Plenty of
You want
black
to know something,
men
buddy?
say
Because this
black
country
power.
isn't about white power. This country's about Indian power, Chinese power, black power, Hispanic power, white power. All different people working together. And no matter what you
There
say,
you are. You are a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. You say black power. Hey, I think black power is fine.
Buddy, you have some fantasy in your head about what this country's about.
I don't believe what you're saying.
There were black people who worked their butts off, who gave their lives to protect and build this country.
Power, white power is no good.
Before you first grew the first hair on your skinny head.
I cannot believe it. I think black power is great. It doesn't, see, you don't understand where I'm coming from. I think what is good for the black people, Louis Farrakhan, people like that are fine. They're great. They're good for the black. They are good for the black people. That's all that matters. The black people should only care about what is good for them.
But
okay?
It was the power of all of us working together
I think it's
that
great
built
to
this
see.
country.
I think it's great to see
black
black
people.
people
And you can't draw a line here and say that one group built the country and one group didn't build the country.
Black power shirts. I think black power is great for the race.
Okay, you think he's such a good
I don't
man?
agree with him entirely.
The guy sells out Madison Square Garden.
I don't agree with him entirely.
All right,
let me read about this.
He makes a lot of good points.
Let's
I don't
return.
agree with him entirely.
Hold on one second. Let's return to the whole. Let's return to the whole issue of skinheads and skinhead philosophy in general. Somebody back up here. I'm not going to go back up there, but he had a question about going to work. When you go to work, do your employers look at you and say, "Well,
my employer likes me. He gives me time off to come on television shows because he supports what I stand for."
But don't you think that an employer might say, "You represent the company, and I want a more traditional look"?
My nickname was Skin, and everybody used to look at me and say, "Yeah, he's one of them." And people used to love it. They used to talk to me all the time, ask me questions.
But the thing is, he knows about our philosophy, and he knows how we feel about working hard. And he actually came up to me one day and said, "Look, I understand you guys are believing in working hard. Do you think any more of your friends would want to work for my company?"
Exactly.
Okay? So, you know, if more people had that attitude, it'd be a lot better.
Obviously, I have no problem with my employer because I'm here today. People where I work with black people. They have complete respect for me. I have complete respect for them. There is no animosity whatsoever, which is the way it should be. Okay? You make a big stink about one black man being jumped by whites. For every black man who is being jumped by a white man, there are 10 whites being jumped by blacks. I mean,
keep it down. Keep it down. And this man, it wasn't a matter of that. It was a man who was jumped by members of an organization like yours.
Oh, and of course the JDL jumps no one ever.
It was a codified.
Makes no threats, slashes nobody's tires there.
Yeah, but
buddy.
his friends helped me out to beat up your
All right, hold on for a second.
I don't think.
Let's
if
take
I
a
saw
break
you
and
getting beat
cool
up by
off
some
for a
white
minute
people,
here. We'll
I
be
don't
right
think
back
I would
in
help
just
them
a
out.
moment.